B2B's one-on-one. Hey guys, I'm Cassie Skirbo, Buddha Bullying's Vice President. I'm so excited that we're finally doing this series called B2B's one-on-one. And our very first guest is Suede Brooks, who is an activist, a model, a vlogger, an influencer, and a Buddha Bullying ambassador. She does it all.
I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I love Buddha Bullying. They stand up for an amazing cause.
She's wearing the shirt, I mean, you know. But yeah, no, we appreciate you and everything you stand for. And
thank you so much. I appreciate you. Are you kidding?
Of course.
You're always empowering women. I see it all.
Why, thank you. I try, girl, I try. So yeah, I just kind of drafted up, honestly, in my notes, some questions for us. And the first one was pretty simple. Can you give everyone a bit of a background as to why it's important for you to help us tackle bullying?
Oh my God.
Help us tackle.
This is probably the main reason why I did come to Buddha Bullying, why I wanted to become part of the organization, just because it stands for such an amazing cause that I have been standing for my whole life, which is anti-bullying, and that how these girls and these kids are going through such horrible things during, in school.
Absolutely.
And I went through it firsthand when I was in middle school, ages 12 to about 14. I had a very low point in my life where I was severely bullied. I wanted nothing to do with school. I didn't even want to go to school. I didn't want to show up. And it definitely, shaped and formed me into who I am today. So I'm very blessed. I mean, I'm very blessed that I was bullied because
it sounds silly, but it does. I tell when we're, speaking at the schools, I tell everybody I was bullied as well in high school.
Right.
And I tell everybody that was my fuel. It hurts in the moment,
it makes you want
but the tank just kept rising and rising, and I'm like, and mine was it had a lot to do with me wanting to become an actress. Everyone was like, okay, sure.
Mine was a YouTuber.
Exactly, right? They just don't want to champion you at all, ever.
Crazy.
Exactly, right? Isn't that funny? And then when you start succeeding, they come out of nowhere.
Hey, long time no see.
Yeah, you're suddenly best friends. But that's what I always kind of say that it really has shaped me into who I am, and it's made me want to make a difference. It's made me want to be a part of Buddha Bullying and continue to speak at
school. And that's the reason that I want to, I'm so inspired by you.
Oh, thank you.
You're killing it in the anti-bullying world.
Thank you. I mean, it's important out here in LA too.
There's so many young girls that are going through 10 times worse things than we went through.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially with social media and how things change and how things evolve.
Honestly, I am so happy that I was not.
Same.
There was no social media when I was in school. None. I mean,
there was a little.
MySpace was the most that we had.
Okay, that's my brother. My brother was 24.
Myself.
He had MySpace. He had Facebook.
Yeah, that's where it all. That's
I feel with me, this is when when I was in middle school, it was more Instagram was just kind of starting up, and then Twitter. Those were the two main things.
Well, kind of jealous, I'm not gonna lie,
because
that means you're 10 years younger than me, but whatever.
It's okay.
It is what it is.
The same generation.
She came in, I'm like, it's called vlogger, right? It's is that the right word? How should I introduce you? So ridiculous.
I gotta do it all.
You do it all.
I like to step my feet into different paths because you never know. You never know if you're inspired by one thing, it leads you to the next.
And it always changes.
Yeah, now I'm sitting here, which is crazy. I never would have thought I'd be doing this.
I know, I love it. It's awesome.
So blessed to be here.
So happy you're here. So I kind of wanted to dive into the modeling thing because I know that world can be really tough.
It's horrible.
On 2.5 Girls. Yeah, my podcast, we had a girl on, Allie Ayer. She's a model, and she kind of talked about.
I know Lexi Ayer.
Yeah, and just.
So funny.
Wait, who?
Lexi Ayer? A-Y-E-R?
I don't know.
Ooh,
I don't think she has a sister, but maybe.
Maybe, okay, wait.
Is she a model too?
Yeah.
Do I need to change my last name to Ayers? Is that how you become a model? Should I be going by Cassie Ayers now? But yeah, I wanted to bring that up because I feel there's a lot of pressures that you face in that industry.
100%. It's a horrible industry, and I can proudly say that.
Yeah, which
I was modeling full time when I started modeling when I was 11, and I was told constantly to lose weight, even though I was already 100 pounds, and things like that. Where it makes. I mean, I'm so blessed. Again, I'm so blessed that it did happen to me because it helped me build my thick skin that I have to this day. Because I would walk into these agencies when I was 13 years old and they'd say, "Oh, you need to cut your you need to cut your waist by 1 inch. You need to cut your hips by 2 inches." And it was at the end of the day, I was just doing what I loved. And I always wanted to model. I always had this dream of being a model. But then once I slowly learned about the industry and how traumatizing it is for these girls, I was I'm down to model 100%, but I don't want to be just a model.
Yeah.
Because there's also a cap on that. Once you're 25, you're tapped out.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, I would have been
you know
tapped
what
out a
I'm
long time ago. Maybe I shouldn't change my last name to Ayers. I ain't changing my last name to Ayers.
But I mean, I feel like the modeling world is definitely dying out now. Like it's slowly dying out just because more people are turning to the personality route, because the personality route doesn't have a cap. You can run with your personality for as long as
forever.
possible, forever. But with
Well, there's so much body positivity, and this is the one good thing about social media, or one of the good things about social media, is that there are so many groups of people who have come together to champion each other and to talk about body positivity and to stop shaming, and
just even like the curve models. Like I feel like that has become like the new thing. Back in the day, it was like if you weren't if you were over 100 pounds, you weren't walking runway shows, and now you see these beautiful curvy women owning the runway, which I love.
Absolutely.
And it's definitely evolving, but it's
Ashley Graham was just on the cover of Vogue, right?
Right. Like girls like that.
Girl.
I think it's amazing.
Girls who eat and are healthy mentally and physically, all of that. Very, very important.
They stand up for what's right, and these girls are inspired by them, which I think is incredible. So they should, just keep doing what you're doing. If you want to model, then I mean, do it. But
that was literally what I was going to say. Is like, what advice would you give a young girl who is told these things?
Advice-wise, I would say not to model. Personally, like that's
don't do it.
Yeah, like just because it is a very you have to have very, very thick skin for it, and like you have to understand that like you're working under somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if a company's booking you, you're working for that company.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, if you want to do that, go ahead, go right ahead and do it. But I think taking the personality route and taking like that is way better, because you can own yourself, and you can be confident, you can eat whatever you want, do whatever you want, and still.
You can have a taco.
Be fire, right? And not have to worry about it.
Exactly.
But yeah, the modeling industry is definitely a very messed up industry
I love that.
It's taken a long time to evolve, and it's slowly, it's almost there. But I mean, it's crazy.
It really breaks my heart, because when you love something and you want it so badly, sometimes you sell your soul. And I have friends that have dealt with eating disorders, and I love how honest people are becoming. I think that these stories are coming out left and right and more often, and it's so important.
Because people want to see the raw, real stuff nowadays. And that's the thing, the people on the internet, they're not stupid.
Right.
Everyone, you can tell within seconds if somebody is, putting on a front, putting on a personality for the camera, and in reality, it's like, all the people really want to see on the internet now is real, authentic content.
Yep.
Which is why I love things like this, because it's like, there's not that much editing that goes into this.
No.
It's just a pure conversation that people want to know and hear about and feel inspired. So.
People want to feel like they can relate to people.
Relatability.
And it's about
the main thing. I always, every meeting I go into, I always say, I want to be relatable, and I want to be able to inspire young girls. And if you're not relatable, then they don't feel like they're attached to you.
Exactly. It's
like you can wear as much designer as you want, you can do whatever you want, hang out with whoever you want, but at the end of the day, it's like, if you're not relating to young girls and young teens out there that are actually really going through it, then what's the point of having 10 million followers?
Exactly.
You know how many girls have 10 million followers and all they do is post bikini pictures? It's like,
yes, I do.
What are you gonna get?
Yes, I do.
What are you gonna get with that?
Just start posting bikini pictures.
Like,
what do I got? What's a girl got to do? But it's frustrating.
It's frustrating.
You're like, that's what people. But then again, there are so many women out there that just are outspoken and stand for so much, and I'm starting to see their followings grow just as much as the bikini girl followers. And I love that. It's making me so happy. I hope that we continue to head in this direction.
Build that. I agree. 100%.
Absolutely. So as I was doing this, as I was drafting these questions, there was 3 questions, like the next 3, that I'm like, I want to do these for everybody who comes on a Buddha Bullying one-on-one. So I think these 3 are so important, and I know it's a very vulnerable topic, but that's kind of the point, is breaking the silence and showing everybody that everyone has their shit.
Real.
Everyone's got their shit. Sorry for the curse word, but it is what it is, and that's real, and it's real, and everyone's got their thing. And so I wanted to see if you could share what your biggest insecurity is and how you tackle it, or how you maybe want to start tackling it, something that you haven't completely, fixed yet, or I don't think you were fixed,
yeah, I mean, growing
worked
up
through.
100%. I mean, I have so many insecurities. I feel like every young girl, when
Oh,
they're
for
going
sure.
through middle school, puberty, things along those lines, we all have our insecurities. But I think my main one was I struggled with a really bad eating disorder when I was younger. I still struggle with body dysmorphia. It's not like I had to struggle with body dysmorphia as well. It's not like you just wake up and you're like, oh, it's gone. No, it's an everyday thing that you have to work at.
Yeah.
And that's what I always tell people is that like you have to give yourself a chance every morning you wake up. And that's what's honestly helped me with what I've dealt with in the past. I mean, I've gone through eating disorders. I've gone through like anorexia, bulimia. Like it's been around my family. My sister struggled with it. I've struggled with it.
You're in the
And
industry
it's one of those things where you have to, like, it's not like it's like a curable thing where it's like, oh, you wake up and you're fine. You feel great. It's like every day you have to work at it. You have to give yourself a chance.
You have to love yourself.
You
have
to. And if you don't, then you're not giving yourself a chance. If you don't give yourself a chance, you're not going to get anywhere with that. So I think my body's probably like the one thing that I have always been most insecure about, and my height. I mean, in 5th grade.
Girl, why? I'm 5'3". I'm like, give me some of that.
I mean, even when I was younger, like in 5th grade, I was probably 5'10". And for a 5th grader, that is giant. All these kids in 5th grade.
That's pretty tall.
It's giant.
But it's amazing.
For that age, right.
You're just born to be, destined to be
model. And
model.
this was before I even like knew like about modeling, and before I even had my YouTube channel, and I was just like, I would literally walk around my school like hunchback in Notre Dame, like I don't want nothing. Like I was so embarrassed.
Instead of embracing
And
it.
now it's like, it's one of my biggest, I love being tall. But
Yeah.
back when I was in middle school and elementary school, I hated it. And so like now, you know, it's part of my work, and I'm able to, you know, book jobs because of my height, which is insane.
Exactly. You're like, this is now making me money.
This is right. Exactly.
Something that I used to like, hide from and run from and try to, you know, make myself look like the hunchback, and now I'm making money.
Clothes,
secure in the bag, girl.
Yeah, I used to wear baggy clothes. I used to
Yes.
slouch over because I didn't want anybody looking at me in a way that, you know, I just wanted to hide myself as much as possible growing up. And I still struggle with that. I think like even this past year, I've grown a lot with just like being comfortable in my own body.
You're so young. You're 18,
and I know,
right?
yeah, I'm 18.
Yeah, you'll
so
just
like when I
continue
go to
to grow
events,
and learn and grow and learn.
right? When I go to events and I go to parties, like I'm always the one girl that's in heels. I love wearing heels. I love being taller. So in heels, I'm probably 6'2". I'm probably like 6'2" in heels. And so I love going to events because everyone always compliments me.
Tower over everybody.
I'm like,
Just,
yeah.
Demand the
I want to
room.
be taller. I want to be taller. But that was
Me
definitely
too.
one thing. Like
Me too,
growing
I
up,
wanna be
like
taller.
being tall, and now I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And then also my name. Like I hated my name growing up, and now I love it.
I think Suede is one of the freaking coolest names ever.
Thank you.
I do.
Thank you so much.
Suede Brooks, like, excuse me? Like,
It's fun.
when you're born with that name, you're destined to do something cool. Like,
Everyone always thought my name was so weird, like, because it was like, you know, it's a fabric, it's a leather, so it always makes
it's
fun enough.
amazing.
But now I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
people know me for my name now, which
Yeah.
is like crazy.
it's a memorable name.
But definitely, I mean, it took a long time to, you know, conquer with like things like that because I'm constantly like, it's normal. The human brain does that. We constantly compare ourselves to other people on the internet, and like once you realize like all the girls on Instagram are not real, it's like okay, well, there's
Everybody-
that's what I do like to
yeah.
preach because all these girls are using Facetune, all these girls are photoshopping the heck out of them, and it's like. What are you preaching to these girls? Like, I know there's millions of followers, like millions of little girls that follow these girls, and it's like, what are you standing up for?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
what's the cause of this? Like, what's your purpose?
Exactly.
Always have to explain myself though. You have to
It's
have a
interesting,
purpose.
absolutely. Well, I think this year, I never really had thought of the term self-bullying, being a self-bully. I've always thought of self-love.
So, yeah.
And never thought of self-bullying, and I sat in a panel with Anna Lynn McCord and Viva Bianca,
Right.
incredible women, and another incredible activist, Seek Smith, and they had brought up self-bullying, and Anna Lynn was saying something on the line of, if the voice in your head, if this voice inside of your head was a person, would you be friends
Would
with
you say
that
that?
person?
Yes, I've heard that too. Yeah,
Absolutely not. I'm just going to be honest. I wouldn't because, and I'm a very positive person, and still I sit there
You're still
daily and I
so-
think with things, and I, have my own insecurities and thoughts and things that I stress about. And
100%.
I think if there's one thing, like just to pray, like to continuously tell girls to start thinking of, opposed to just
what's your yeah, it's like what do you
self-bullying.
Yes.
Because I think everything you go on to do in life starts with acceptance.
Yes, 100%.
It doesn't have to be good. You have to literally accept the good, the bad, and the ugly because it's all you. And then it's just how you navigate throwing certain things out and how you navigate, owning certain things that you at one point didn't like about yourself or whatever it may be. It all starts with self-love.
It does. It really does. And that's something
I love
that,
that's something you're stepping into at such a young age.
100%.
It took me a lot longer.
Right. I mean, and I'm so happy that I went through, what I went through at my age, just because, like, the things that I went through when I was, 13, 14 years old, and the things that people are going through now at 30, like, you know what I'm saying? Like 30, 45, and like, I'm so happy that I was able to, go through things like that at that age, because now I'm like, okay, been there, done that.
Exactly.
Like, now I know, now I can move forward. But the voice in your head, that's definitely something you guys should, take away. I mean, it's true.
Really
like, would you be
impacted
friends with the voice in your head? And if you didn't, if you weren't gonna,
we're starting to become friends now. We were enemies for a while.
I know. I feel like mine's like an on and off switch. I'm like, today will be a good day if I wake up on the right side of the bed, then we're cool. But
and that's okay. Everything's just okay, because at the end of the day, we're just humans. You know what I mean? It's
we all go through it.
Yep. And that's another thing about being relatable, is that it's so comforting just to know that all these people that you may look up to, or your enemies, or whoever it may be, that everybody has
everyone goes through it.
Their thing. Exactly.
And like, you might see their highlight reel on Instagram, but it's like, do you really know like what they're actually going through? And that's why I like to break. That's like the one thing that I love to break down on the internet is like, you go on anybody's Instagram, all you see is, their highlight reel.
Of course, it's all about the aesthetic.
The aesthetic, the highlights of their life, what they accomplished, how much money they're making, da-da-da. But it's like, in reality, it's like, for a fact they have emotional traumas. They've gone through stuff. Like, and I love breaking that barrier, because that's what people really love to see. Like, when I'm able to do interviews with people, I always ask them, like, the most deep personal questions that they're probably not comfortable with me asking, but I do it because I want a genuine reaction, and I want to hear a genuine story. And like, we can talk about Instagram, Twitter, TikTok all day, but it's like, what's really the cause of these girls being depressed in school, these eating disorders, these suicide attempts? Like, there's obviously something that's going on that's, triggering that.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, people need people.
Absolutely.
So this is amazing that you're coming on and talking about this.
There's actually, growing up I went to this church, and like, the quote of the church was, "It's okay to not be okay." And I've always lived by that.
I love it.
Because it's so true. Like, there's some days where I wake up and I'm like, today's not the day. Today is not the day. But then there's some days where I'm like, okay, come on, Suede, chop, let's go.
I'm feeling great
you
today.
You really have to give yourself a chance.
Yeah.
You have to know that, like, it's okay to sob your eyes out. It's
Absolutely.
okay to feel. It's okay to, like...
Woo!
Yeah, it's okay to feel. It's okay to go through those emotions, because it's normal. And, like, I used to hide my emotions so much growing up. Like, I would cry in my room alone. Like, I never wanted to show, like...
Because the worst feeling in the world is feeling alienated or alone in something. And I think that's where so much depression and anxiety, which I've suffered from lots of anxiety.
Me too.
Social anxiety, regular anxiety, panic attacks. I've had it all. Full blown.
Right.
And I used to never want to admit that, because I was scared that suddenly I'd be viewed differently. But no, like, everybody
goes
thing,
through it.
and it's just about not. I feel like a lot of my issues had started to subside the second that I just was open about what I was going through, and whoever was around me would either be like, "Oh, I've suffered from that," or "My daughter does," or "My sister does," or "Yeah, we all have that." Like, it's just okay.
It's
like,
so fun.
Don't take it too seriously. Almost
100%.
like, obviously there's certain scenarios where people need help, different forms of help, and that's okay. But sometimes you almost just gotta laugh at yourself. Just be like, "It's okay, girl. Like,
you're okay.
Take a breath."
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love that you said that. Sometimes you wake up on the
'cause
wrong
it's
side
so
of the bed.
true.
It's just okay.
It's like we're literally human bodies. Like, we all
Yeah,
go through this.
which is the weirdest thing
Like,
ever.
it's okay.
Like, what's a human body?
But that's what I'm saying. And it's like, people think that it's like such just like okay, having an anxiety attack or having this and that. It's like, people think that it's such just like, and it's like, no, we're all normal. We all be having
We're trying to figure out what this place is and what our missions are and where we are, what our purpose is. I'll get real deep with you, but no, I totally understand.
It's so true, and I always tell people that. Like, it's
just
about breaking the barrier between the filtered and the unfiltered. And like, I love breaking that, and like, actually sitting down and talking to them and be like, "Oh, how's your relationship with your father? Oh, how's this? But did you actually go through this?" Like, because they get thrown off and they're like, "I've never," like, especially on camera,
They're scared they're gonna be judged.
And they're scared of being judged, and they're also like, most of the time they're used to having those conversations in private. But then in reality, once you upload those videos, they're always the number one most viewed, the number one this, the number one that, because
Just
it's
goes to
authentic
show,
and it's real.
and everyone goes
so
through it.
Raw. Yeah, it's so raw.
Everyone's trying to navigate this life. Even at 60, 70, 80 years old, there's
They
still
still don't
things
have it
that you
figured
stress
out.
from or don't
People
have it
expect
figured
you to
out.
have it figured out by like 18 years old,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I think is appalling. Like,
No,
I was listening to
definitely not.
Gary Vee, like one of his like videos the other day, and he was
Love
like,
Gary
yeah,
Vee.
like it's crazy to think that the like parents nowadays are telling their kids, oh, you have to have it figured out by 18, when in reality the parents don't even have it figured out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's like it really is. It's such a.
And it's also okay to change course. We are constantly
so
evolving.
fine.
And things that you once loved, you just might not love anymore, and you might love something else just
I
more.
took a break from YouTube for like a whole year because I wanted nothing to do with it. Because the word YouTuber had such a negative connotation when I started, because it was like, this was like back when like the Logan Pauls, the Jake Pauls, they were like running the YouTube, and I was like, I don't want nothing to do with it. So I stopped YouTube, and now I'm back, and I mean, I've always loved YouTube.
Yeah.
Always loved it. I've always had a passion for making videos, but you know, you go through waves of inspiration.
Yeah.
There's some days where you wake up and you're like, oh, I want to film 7 videos, and there's some days where you wake up, I don't want to film none, and that's okay.
Exactly, and it's just okay.
It really is.
It's okay to not be okay.
Right.
It's just all
It's
okay.
great. We're going full circle.
Exactly. I feel like we've kind of touched on this pretty much, but does the time you spend scrolling on social media make you feel better, ultimately make you feel better or worse? And if it makes you feel better, how can we all begin to start using it as a more optimistic tool? If it makes you feel worse, how do you feel we can possibly change this as a society? Feel free to let me
Okay, I think I got it, because I mean, I started YouTube in 2012. So this was when
you were a baby. How old were you?
I was 12 years old. I
That's
started
right,
making videos when I was
Cassie.
12
Simple
years
math.
old. Right, so
18 to
I was in this generation where it was like me. It was some of the biggest creators at the time were like Bethany Moda, Tyler Oakley. All these people don't make videos anymore. Like they don't do it, because that would everyone it's crazy that there's like these different generations that come on YouTube or whatever platform. Now you have these huge TikTok stars that are pulling in
I still have no
20
idea what
million,
TikTok is.
30 million. It's insane. But I think it really depends on who you're following on Instagram. That's like the main thing. If you are a woman and you're following, body positive accounts, influencers that are actually making a change for this world and are actually standing for a cause, I think there's some days where I'll scroll down Instagram and I'd be like, okay, well, I didn't get any inspiration out of that. I didn't get any, jet, fuel for my jet. So
yeah.
I think there's some days where I go on Instagram and it's like, okay, amazing. I feel great. I want to take a photo today. I want to, be out there. I want to make some stories, whatever, make some content. But then there's also those days where I go on Instagram where I'm like, I want to delete all my Instagram. Like, I want to delete all my photos. And I've gone through that so many times in my head. I think Instagram is,
yin and the yang.
It's become such a serious app. And I would for sure say Snapchat. I mean, Instagram's not my favorite platform. It used to be. It used to be my all-time favorite. And now, there's so many other platforms that I love Snapchat. Snapchat's like, I think my biggest fan base is actually on Snapchat, which is crazy. Yeah, because you get all the young kids. It's the number one app for like kids under the age of like 18.
Right.
So
there's no I had Snapchat. I don't know why I'm forgetting how it works, but Snapchat's kind of the same thing as almost like Instagram stories. But there's so you can't comment necessarily. You can directly comment.
Yeah, if it's your friend, they can reply.
Okay.
If it's your friend, they can reply. Or my friend actually just put his public, so now like anyone can reply to his
right,
which is cool. But I think back to your question, it really depends on who you follow, and I think like that
start skimming, going through your following people.
Toxic
it's
people
very
that
true.
aren't trying to build you up or help you become a better person. Like the Instagram accounts that I follow, like that I'm always looking at, is like Gary Vee, Graham Hardone, like people that are like so influential, and you hear there's actually a word for it, and I think it's called like it's for like when you're sitting in bed alone and you're listening to like the Gary Vee talks, like all those like inspiration. I literally think it's called inspiration porn, and it's like a known thing.
I need to get on that inspiration porn.
Because you watch these videos and you want to get
I do love Gary Vee though so much.
Gary Vee, for example,
or Lewis Howes.
Yes, people like that.
I'm probably saying that
wrong.
There's
an actual word.
He's awesome. They're all awesome.
That's why that's one thing that I love Instagram about, is that you can find people like that are like really like multi-millionaires changing the world.
Right.
You listen to them and you're like, okay, I'm ready to get up.
It's really how you decide to use the platform.
It really is. It's all up to you.
I think I'm gonna have to go through my following.
Well,
I'm not even kidding. I never really fully thought of that, like, because there's certain brands I like or things, but
of course, but are they really
I never thought
impacting you?
Exactly, no.
Like, are they really trying to make, like, oh my god,
No.
every single morning I wake up, there's always like the solid, like,
Something went on your screen. I don't know what that
okay.
means. Are we good? Just figured to let you know.
No, you're good.
Okay, sorry.
But, yeah, I think it really depends on who you follow. Like, and who.
That is such good, simple but
who
good
you're
advice.
Who you're letting into your brain.
Right.
And like, the second you wake up, if the first thing you're letting into your brain is, you know, some bullshit stuff that you don't need.
I definitely follow a few girls with some bomb-ass booties because I'm like,
but then you
gotta
look at
get
them
your,
and you're like,
your spots
okay.
on, girl. But sometimes it just doesn't make me feel that great. It
You're
really
like,
doesn't.
okay.
And I'm like, we gotta get back to the Gary Vee
You're like,
stuff.
that's what I'm saying. It's
Right.
like, you see these girls are pulling in 250,000 likes.
And like, great for you.
Great
you
for
know,
you,
like,
great for you, but like, where is that gonna take them? And give them
Exactly.
a few years, they're not gonna like, it's just so shallow.
save up.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I tell everyone, save your money, because you don't know how
easier.
long this stuff is gonna last.
Yeah.
And that's like my main thing, especially like I talk about a lot of financial stuff because coming from like YouTube, when I was 12 years old, I came into like a very large amount of money for
Right.
my age.
Absolutely.
And my parents were freaking out because they're like, oh my gosh, how do we handle this kind of, we've
Because
never
it's
dealt
technically
with
your
this.
money,
It's
but you're so
my
young that why don't we just start being able to put
One-on-one.
what we say into the schools
You should
online?
make this a podcast too.
Right? I mean, it kind of is in a sense, I guess.
It is in
but,
a sense.
Yeah.
I mean, this is more, I guess, short form.
Yeah.
How long do your podcasts normally go for?
So yeah, for 2.5 girls, ours are about 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Sometimes an
Yeah.
hour. But
That's my dream to have a
maybe-
podcast.
Yeah.
I want to have my own podcast so bad.
Do
And it's so
it.
funny because I go on all of my friends' podcasts, but I never have like actually sat down and been like, okay, I want to have my own. Because I'm a talker. I
You'll
love
have
talking.
one.
Like I just don't
Just
shut
gotta
up.
speak
I
it into
throw up.
existence.
Yeah, I throw up all my words. Everything just kind of comes out. So that's, I'm definitely interested in.
I'm the same way. I'm just,
I
because
just
I always
don't
have so
know.
much on my
Me
mind,
too,
and it's so
me
much in my heart, I'm
too.
like, I gotta get it
I
all
just
out.
have no filter too, and it just kind of like
Which is
whatever
great.
comes out, comes out.
It's
and,
real.
You know, it is what it is.
Well, it's been amazing
Thank
for
you for
us here
having me.
today, so I'm so happy you came on.
I'm
Honestly,
so
you're
happy.
amazing.
We'll have to do a round two.
Thank you
guys
so
want a round
much.
two?
Absolutely, whenever. Done. Thank you so much, B. This was so fun.